All right, so hello and welcome everyone on the second season of Open House. Welcome back to a Sunday morning. All of you are here on a Sunday morning, and it gives me joy. And I'm also always surprised how do so many people show up. So thank you for showing up. Today we're going to talk about denial. And I think as a word, everybody's familiar with it. And before I share my take on it, it'll be great if I can hear from some of you what denial means to you. Anybody wants to share anything?
Accepting the fault or taking ownership, not taking ownership.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else wants to share anything?
Not being able to accept an event or the reality as it is because it's not conform with the wishes of the person, and then making on reality, so it denying what is obvious.
Okay. Anyone else?
Living in an illusion or an alternate reality of yourself.
Okay. All right. So little bit, everybody is right. Okay. Uh, what is denial? If I go by the textbook definition, being stopped to do something, being stopped to say something, but as an event, being unable to accept an event or a situation. Textbook definition of denial is, in terms of emotions, since we are in that kind of a space, inability to accept a situation or an event, inability to accept something that has gone on in your life. All right, that's basic. Now, if you're talking about the inability to accept something, be it any kind of breakdown, any kind of situation, any kind of event, why would we be unable to accept? There are reasons for that. First, whatever has happened is so out of the framework of my existence that my brain stops functioning. That is a shock or a trauma. In a trauma, you are shocked. And that shock, because it is so away from the framework of your reality, something has happened that because it is so different, it just does not compute. It just does not make sense. It's like a brain malfunction. And because it does not compute, because you're unable to process what just happened, it's easier to deny. It's easier to say no. All right. Another particular reason why you would deny is because once you deny or don't accept, it puts you in a framework that is comfortable for you. And you can continue in your own la la land, which is the illusion or the delusion that Jayashree was talking about. So it's a result. The illusion and the delusion is a result of the denial. It's not the cause of the denial. All right. So you can continue to live in your own world of your own making in your own head because you choose not to accept. Either you are choosing not to accept or you're unable to accept because it is very new or very different from your existing framework of life. When I say framework, your reality, your situation, how things are in your environment, and whatever has happened is couldn't fathom, couldn't think that it would ever happen. That kind of thing, all right? And the third thing the denial does is it gives you a pause on time. When it pauses time for you in your head, it is giving you time to come to terms with whatever has happened. So in a way, denial is not bad also. So understand this clearly, okay? You go into denial because you're unable to accept whatever has changed in your environment because it is too thought-provoking, emotion-provoking, or you don't know how to react or respond to it because its framework does not exist in your reality, which is why it is a shock, which is why it's a trauma. All right. And from there, since you are not accepting it on an unconscious level, because your subconscious mind is driven to ensure your survival, it is a shock because for your conscious and unconscious reality, it's unknown, it's unfamiliar. And whatever is unknown or unfamiliar creates pain, creates discomfort in your system. And whatever creates pain and discomfort in our system, we don't want to see, which is the reason why denial is happening. But what the denial is doing is it's giving your subconscious mind time to catch up. For that unfamiliar thing to become familiar, it will happen in linear time. Which is the reason why when trauma happens, when shock happens, and in stages of grief, in stages of loss, the first is denial, and then you move on through various stages to come into acceptance. So denial helps you pause, hit a pause in your head to come to terms with your reality in your own time, space, and understanding. Right now, take this only for yourself, okay? That when we deny things at an unconscious level, this is what we are doing. Either we are unable to accept it because we don't know what it is, what it means, how it's going to play out. And the not knowing is so uncomfortable that it is okay to say that's not the truth. And second, if it is so unfamiliar that we don't know what to do, hitting pause, hitting denial gives us time to become familiar with it so that we can accept it in time. And for each person, that time frame is very, very subjective. The degree of acceptance is also very, very subjective individually. Clear? These are the basics of denial. From here, the next phase is, what does denial do for us? The most important thing it does, like I said, is ensure survival, to live through whatever it is, that trauma, that event, that situation that is so uncomfortable. It also acts like a layer of protection till we feel strong enough to face whatever it is that we are unable or unwilling to face. In terms of psychology, denial is the most primary defense mechanism. And we do it so frequently on a regular basis, we don't even know that we are in denial. Like an example, you're having a conversation with someone and someone says something to you and says, no, it's not like this, it's like that. That's denial. Every time your statement is starting with a no, start becoming consciously aware now that first you deny, then you try to bring it back to your own reality by telling the other person, no, it's not that, it's that. All right. Got it? So basically, you're denying to protect your existential state of reality, to maintain the status quo of your life. And in an ideal world, you will keep denying till that existential status quo becomes so uncomfortable that now you don't want to live with it. And then you do what you need to do to come into acceptance. But that is how we generally, as people, operate. So basically, it's to protect yourself that you deny. It's to protect yourself, your feelings, your thought processes, your belief systems, and your existing reality. This is why we are in denial. These are the basics. Now, this is the self. This is how I am working with denial. But the tragedy of our life is that we are not living in isolation. We are social. So while we are in denial of so many things in life, and we are aware of some things that we don't deny, that we deny, and we are not aware of a lot of things that we are denying. And we come across a person who is just like us, who is in their own denials. And then you have to live with these people or interact with these people. And that's where the bang, 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 and the clashes of your lives begin. And that is the reason why every time you're in a heated conversation, the first word that comes out in life is no. It's not like this. It's like that because you are denying their reality. They are denying your reality. And now there's a mismatch of ideas. There's a mismatch of, viewpoints, and then you are feeling misunderstood, and then you are feeling blamed, and then all the conflict in your life begins. Okay, so it's two opposing people, it's two people trying to protect their own existing realities. It's like a cockfight. I want to ensure that my life and my world remains. I want to ensure my life and my world remains. And we are only looking at our point of view. We don't want to look at it the other person's point of view. That is what makes the conflict worse. So this is what denial is doing to you and the people around you in your daily life. A lot of people in your life do not know that they are in denial. But from today onwards, you know that you are in denial. I'm pretty sure, right? We are like 11 people on this talk. Is there anyone who starts at least one conversation a day without a no? Anyone here? You never say no before starting a statement? Okay, so that means you are in awareness. Smriti is great. But the rest I don't know. But this is what we do. This is what we have a tendency to do, which is our intrinsic nature to do. All right. This is the basics of denial. Anybody else has any lack of clarity, or can we go to the conversation now? All right. So Gabriela asked me, so is it like freezing? So Gabriela, freezing is a neurological reaction to trauma in which your physical system freezes. Denial is what happens after the freeze when you cannot accept the freeze or when you don't know what to do after the freeze. All right. Freezing is the first response or the first reaction that you do. Denial is whatever this is uncomfortable, so I don't want to see it. That's what the difference is. And then Aarti has asked me, if we became aware of denial, how to come out of it? So the first question would be, okay, if you're aware of denial, are you aware of what you are doing in your denial? Is it because you don't want to see your reality? Is it because you don't want to accept what's happening? Is it because it's too painful? Is it because you need time? So first you have to become aware of, okay, you are in denial. What are you denying? And where are you at in these 4 spaces of denial? Because it will tell you where you are at in your readiness to move into acceptance or get out of it. And once you are aware of which stage of or which aspect of denial you're at, the inquiry is going to be, why am I doing this? What about it is making me uncomfortable? Because that is where the work is. Denial is the reaction. But the work is understanding why denial is happening. And once you come to peace with what you are feeling because of which you are denying, and you're at peace with the emotion, then you're able to get out of it. Have I answered your question, Aarti? All right. Denial could be defending the truth too. Yes, Jayashri, but truth is subjective. All right. Truth is not a universal truth. What is universal truth is fact. Otherwise, everybody is carrying their own version of reality, which is their truth. Your truth may or may not be my truth. So you are defending your version. Like I said, you are fighting to maintain your status quo. You are not, whatever you're trying to do, whether you're defending, it's ensuring that your version of your reality continues existing. That is the reason why you are denying. All right. Have I answered your question, Jayashree? Okay. Sneha, denial is not facing life. No, Sneha, that's not what I said. I said that you have a life and that life is existing in a framework. Framework means your environment, your belief systems, your existential reality. And when something happens in your environment that is completely out of the framework, I'm not saying opposite, something that does not exist in your experience. And because we don't have a capacity to process what is not in our experience, because it's relatively new to us, we are unfamiliar with it, the tendency is to take a step back and say, no, this is not it. Is it not facing life?
Facing
In
life.
that particular aspect of your life, in that particular issue of your life. But again, when you say it's not facing life, it's like being a little critical with yourself and saying that you're not doing good enough. We at any given point in time as human beings are trying to do the best that we can in the reality that we are in. And when it becomes too difficult to handle what does not exist in our experience, our tendency is to say, no, we don't want to see it. This is not the truth. Is that not facing life? In a way, yes. But also understand that we as humans do not learn something by we looked at it and we have mastered it. No. That those are very few people who have a photographic memory. They see it and they remember all of it, and that's why they are geniuses. But for most of us as humans, we have a learning curve. We have a graph from unfamiliarity to familiarity, and as long as we are in the framework of unfamiliarity, it's uncomfortable and it's difficult to face. So it's like with exposure, we become more and more capable and ready to face something. And then we are becoming capable of living life. So if you want to make it a judgment statement that denial is not facing life, true it is. But understand that humanity is not living on exposure therapy, is living on exposure therapy, that we learn in stages. We are not just dunked into, the rip off the band-aid attitude is not for everyone in life. A lot of people like to be eased into things. And denial happens when something is too sudden in my reality. I have not had time to grasp its impact on me. So my go-to response is protecting myself, step away. Don't look at it. Don't see it. Don't accept it. Don't acknowledge it. Have I answered your questions, Neha? All right. Can denial come from past life and we do not understand it? It's possible, Smriti, that denial can come from past life and we don't understand it. But understand that what is the framework of that lifetime may not be the framework of this lifetime. All right. There are a lot of things that we do deny, yes, because sometimes what we are denying is the darker aspects of our own existence, which have been labeled, which have been judged, which don't look very pleasant when they are out in the open, and then we feel attacked. So it's just good to hide them and we go in denial. All right. It can come from past lives, and that is very subjective on a case-to-case basis as to what has happened, because a physical trauma can also lead to denial. A point of view that is new to you or unknown to you can also lead to denial. So denial can be a function of shock. It can also be a function of ignorance. Okay. So of course, you will not know in your present reality whether you're denying something, but it is a non-question as long as your life is moving. You will only move to a past life question when in your current life you've given it your all and still things are not working out. And then you want to explore in my conscious reality, in my conscious awareness, in my rationality, if something is not working out, where is it originating from? And then you go to the past. So denial is happening all the time in each lifetime. Is it impacting every lifetime? Maybe, maybe not. Because we only carry forward from previous lifetimes that which is incomplete. That which is done and digested, we don't carry forward. We just carry that forward as experience and wisdom. And that is already integrated in our system as awareness of this life. It's only what is undigested in the past that can stick around as trauma if the current situations of life also trigger it. Okay, so we're talking about the current subconscious mind, and let's stick to that. All right. Okay. So Aarti, 4 stages of denial means the same thing that I spoke about at the very beginning, that either you have a shock, something that is completely out of your framework, or you are completely ignorant. So you don't know whether it exists in your reality. Next, once you become aware whether it's a shock, whether it's unfamiliar, whether you're ignorant about it, then it comes to the fact that what is it shifting in my reality? And why am I shifting it in my reality? Why am I hitting pause? Why am I unable to accept it? That is where you need to move, because that will tell you what about that situation makes you so uncomfortable that you don't want to look at it, you don't want to see it, you don't want to live it or experience it. The problem is not in the event or the situation of the life. The problem is your inability to handle it. So, what is in you that is making you incapable of handling it is what you need to figure out. Okay. All right. So, that's it about denial at my end. Anybody has any further questions, or we are good to close? All right, then. Thank you all for coming in. It was a great talk. Mostly I was having the questions on chat, but it would have been great if you could have spoken to. Thank you all for coming in. I'll see you all next week with another topic.